Have you ever made one small mistake that seemed to ruin your entire day? Maybe you forgot something important. Maybe you missed a bus. Maybe you went to the wrong place. At first, the mistake felt terrible. But later, something unexpected happened. That mistake opened a door you never knew was there. Today, you are going to hear the story of Elena. Elena had recently moved to the United States. She was beginning a new job, living alone in a new city, and trying to build a new life. On the morning of her first day at work, she lost the backpack that held almost everything she needed to begin that new life. Her wallet was inside. Her apartment keys were inside. Her documents were inside. And inside her notebook was a photograph she could never replace. Elena believed her first day was already ruined. But the person who found her backpack would change much more than that single day. This is an original English listening story from Flow English. You do not need to understand every word. Listen for the people, the places, the feelings, and the main events. Allow the story to carry you forward. Take a slow breath. Relax your shoulders. And let's begin. Elena opened her eyes before the alarm rang. For a few seconds, she did not know where she was. The bedroom was small and quiet. Several unopened boxes were still sitting against the wall. A light gray curtain covered the only window. Through the curtain, she could see the soft light of early morning. Then she remembered. She was in Seattle. She had moved into the apartment 11 days earlier. Today was Monday. And today was the first day of her new job. Elena reached for her phone and checked the time. 6:12. Her alarm was set for 6:30. She could have closed her eyes and rested for 18 more minutes, but she knew she would not fall asleep again. Her mind was already busy. What if she arrived late? What if she did not understand her manager? What if the customers spoke too quickly? What if she made a mistake? Elena sat up and placed both feet on the floor. The apartment felt cold. She pulled on a sweater and walked into the kitchen. The kitchen was barely large enough for one person. There was a small refrigerator, a stove, and a narrow counter beside the sink. On the counter was a blue coffee mug that her younger sister had given her before she left home. The mug had one short sentence printed on it. Start where you are. Elena touched the side of the mug and smiled. She filled it with water and placed it in the microwave. While the water heated, her phone began to ring. It was her mother. Back home, it was already afternoon. Elena answered. Hi, Mom. Her mother sounded surprised. You're awake already? I couldn't sleep. Are you nervous? A little. Her mother laughed softly. Only a little? Elena smiled. Okay. Maybe a lot. Her mother asked, what time do you start? 9 o'clock. And how long does it take to get there? About 35 minutes by bus. Then leave early. I will. Did you prepare everything? Yes. My clothes are ready. My documents are in my bag. I packed lunch last night. Her mother was quiet for a moment. Then she said, you worked very hard for this, Elena. I know. You don't have to be perfect today. Elena looked at the boxes around the apartment. I just don't want to disappoint anyone. You won't. How do you know? Because you care. People who care usually find a way. Elena heard the microwave stop. Her mother continued. And remember, asking a question is not a sign that you are weak. I know. It means you want to understand. Elena nodded, even though her mother could not see her. I'll remember. Call me tonight. I will. And Elena? Yes. I'm proud of you. Elena swallowed. Thanks, Mom. After the call ended, Elena stood alone in the quiet kitchen. Her eyes were wet, but she was smiling. She made instant coffee and ate a piece of toast with peanut butter. Then she took a shower and got dressed. She wore dark blue pants, a cream-colored blouse, and a light brown jacket. She tied her hair back and stood in front of the bathroom mirror. For several weeks, she had imagined this moment. She had imagined herself looking calm, confident, and prepared. But now that the moment had arrived, she looked like someone trying very hard not to be afraid. She took a breath. I don't need to know everything, she told herself. I just need to begin. On a chair beside the door was her dark green backpack. It was not new. She had used it for several years. One of the front zippers was slightly broken, and there was a small mark near the bottom. But Elena trusted that backpack. It had traveled with her through airports, train stations, classrooms, and job interviews. Inside were several important things. Her wallet. Her apartment keys. A blue folder containing personal documents. A notebook. A phone charger. Her lunch. A small amount of cash. And an old photograph of Elena with her father. Her father had died 6 years earlier. The photograph had been taken when Elena was 10 years old. In the picture, they were sitting beside a lake. Her father had one arm around Elena's shoulders. They were both laughing. It was the only copy Elena had. She normally kept the photograph inside a book at home. But during the move, she had placed it in her notebook for safety. She had planned to remove it after she finished unpacking. She had not gotten around to doing that yet. Elena put on her backpack and picked up her umbrella. Before leaving, she checked the apartment twice. The stove was off. The windows were closed. The lights were off. She locked the door and pulled it once to make sure it was secure. Then she walked down the hallway toward the elevator. Outside, the sky was dark gray. A light rain was falling. The sidewalks were wet, and cars moved slowly through the morning traffic. Elena opened her umbrella and began walking toward the bus stop. She had practiced the route 2 days earlier. Walk 3 blocks. Cross at the large intersection. Wait for bus number 47. Get off near Pine Street. Then walk 2 more blocks to Maple Street Books. Maple Street Books was a small local bookstore with a cafe in the back. Elena had found the job online before moving to Seattle. The store needed someone who could help customers, organize books, prepare online orders, and sometimes work in the cafe. The pay was not high, but Elena liked the atmosphere. During her interview, the owner had been kind and patient. She had offered Elena the job the next morning. Elena arrived at the bus stop at 7:45. She was much earlier than necessary. There were 4 other people waiting. A man in a dark suit was looking at his phone. A woman wearing medical scrubs was holding a cup of coffee. A college student had headphones over his ears. An older man stood near the bus sign with 2 shopping bags. The rain became heavier. Elena moved closer to the shelter. The older man tried to place one of his bags on the ground, but the bottom opened. 3 oranges rolled onto the wet sidewalk. "Oh, no," the man said. Elena quickly closed her umbrella and helped him. She picked up one orange near the curb. Then she collected the other two. "Here you go," she said. "Thank you," the man replied. "This bag has been giving me trouble all morning." Elena noticed that the paper bag was wet and weak. "I have an extra reusable bag in my backpack," she said. "You can use it." "Oh, I couldn't take that." "It's okay. I have two." Elena removed her backpack and opened the front pocket. She took out a folded cloth bag and handed it to him. "That's very kind of you," the man said. "No problem." He placed the groceries inside the stronger bag. Then he asked, "Are you headed to work?" "Yes. It's my first day." "First day in the rain." "That's good luck." Elena laughed. "Is it?" "It is now." A bus appeared at the end of the street. The man looked at the number. "That's mine." It was not Elena's bus. He picked up his groceries and stepped toward the curb. Before leaving, he turned to her. "Good luck today." "Thank you. And don't forget your backpack." Elena looked down. Her backpack was sitting beside the bench. She laughed and picked it up. "I almost did." The man smiled. First day nerves. His bus stopped and he got on. Elena placed the backpack on the bench beside her while she opened her umbrella again. 3 minutes later, bus number 47 arrived. The doors opened. People began getting off. Elena closed her umbrella, picked up her backpack, and joined the line. She tapped her transit card and walked toward the back of the bus. Most of the seats were taken. She found an empty seat beside the window. She sat down and placed her wet umbrella on the floor. Then she removed her backpack and placed it on the seat beside her. At the next stop, a woman got on with a small child. The child was wearing a bright yellow raincoat. There were no empty pairs of seats. Elena moved her backpack to the floor so the mother and child could sit together. "Thank you," the woman said. "Of course." Elena placed the backpack between her feet. The bus continued through the city. Elena watched buildings pass outside the window. She quietly repeated several sentences she might need at work. "Good morning. How can I help you? Let me check that for you. I'm sorry. Could you say that again? Would you like a receipt?" She wanted the words to feel natural. The bus stopped several times. More passengers got on. The aisle became crowded. At one stop, an older woman entered the bus using a cane. Elena immediately stood up. "You can sit here," she said. The woman looked grateful. "Thank you, dear." Elena moved into the aisle. She picked up her umbrella, but her backpack remained under the seat. She held onto a metal pole as the bus moved forward. A few minutes later, Elena checked the map on her phone. Her stop was next. She became nervous again. She did not want to miss it. The bus slowed down. Elena pressed the stop button. She moved toward the back door. The doors opened. She stepped onto the sidewalk, opened her umbrella, and began walking. The rain was still falling. She looked at the time. 8:17. She was early. Very early. Maple Street Books did not open until 8:30, and her shift did not start until 9. There was a coffee shop across the street. Elena decided to go inside and wait. The cafe was warm and crowded. The smell of coffee and fresh bread filled the room. A short line had formed near the counter. Elena stood behind a man wearing a bicycle helmet. When it was her turn, the barista smiled. Good morning. What can I get for you? Elena looked at the menu. Could I get a small coffee? Sure. Would you like room for cream? Yes, please. Anything else? Elena considered buying something to eat, but she had already had breakfast. No, that's all. Is that for here or to go? For here, please. The barista told her the total. Elena reached toward her shoulder for her backpack. Her hand touched nothing. She looked down. The backpack was not there. For 1 second, Elena did not understand. She checked the floor. She looked behind her. Then she touched both shoulders. No backpack. The barista waited. Are you okay? Elena's heart began to beat faster. My bag. Did you leave it at a table? I just came in. She turned around and looked toward the door. Then she remembered the bus. The crowded aisle. The older woman. The seat. Her backpack was still under the seat. I left it on the bus, Elena whispered. The barista looked concerned. Do you know which bus? Number 47. Do you have your phone? Elena held up her phone. Yes. You should call the transit lost and found. Elena nodded, but she could not think clearly. Her wallet was in the backpack. Her documents were in the backpack. Her keys were in the backpack. The photograph was in the backpack. She stepped away from the counter. The man behind her moved forward to order. Elena stood near the wall and searched online for the transit customer service number. Her hands were shaking. She pressed the call button. A recorded voice answered. Thank you for calling customer service. Please listen carefully to the following options. Elena listened. Press 1 for route information. Press 2 for lost property. Press 3 for payment questions. She pressed 2. Another recorded message began. If you lost an item on a bus, please have the route number, direction of travel, time, and a description of the item. Elena tried to remember everything. Route 47. Traveling downtown. Around 8:10 in the morning. Dark green backpack. The automated system placed her on hold. Quiet music began to play. Elena looked at the time. 8:24. The bookstore would open in 6 minutes. She had planned to arrive early. She had planned to appear organized. Now she was standing in a cafe without her documents, money, keys, or lunch. A customer service employee finally answered. Transit lost and found. How can I help you? Elena explained what had happened. The employee asked several questions. What route were you on? Route 47. Which direction were you traveling? Toward downtown. Where did you get off? Near Pine Street. What time? Around 8:15. What did you lose? A dark green backpack. Can you describe anything inside? My wallet, a blue folder, a notebook, my apartment keys, and some personal things. The employee typed the information. Then she said, items usually aren't reported until the driver finishes the route. How long does that take? It depends. You can call back later this morning. Can you contact the driver now? I'm sorry. We can't contact drivers about lost property while they're operating the bus. Elena closed her eyes. What should I do? For now, file the report online. If the bag is turned in, someone will contact you. What if someone takes it? The employee's voice remained calm. I understand that you're worried. Many items are returned, but we can't make any guarantees. Elena thanked her and ended the call. She stood still for a moment. The coffee shop felt too loud. People were talking. Cups touched plates. A machine made steam. Someone laughed near the window. Elena felt as if all the sounds were far away. She looked at Maple Street books across the street. The lights were now on. A woman was unlocking the front door. It was Grace, the owner. Elena had two choices. She could continue searching for the backpack. Or she could go to work and explain what had happened. She wanted to run after the bus. But she did not know where the bus was. She wanted to call her mother. But she did not want her mother to worry. She wanted to disappear. Instead, Elena took a breath and walked across the street. A small bell rang when she opened the bookstore door. Grace was standing near the front counter. She was in her early 50s and wore round glasses. When she saw Elena, she smiled. You're early. That's a good sign. Then she noticed Elena's face. What happened? Elena tried to speak calmly. I left my backpack on the bus. Oh, no. My wallet and my keys are inside. My documents too. Did you call the transit office? Yes. They said I have to wait until someone turns it in. Grace placed the store keys on the counter. Do you know where the bus goes after this stop? No. We can look up the route. Grace opened a transit map on the computer. The bus continued north for another 25 minutes. Then it waited at a transit center before beginning the return trip. Grace checked the time. The bus might be at the transit center soon. Elena looked at her. Do you think I should go there? Yes. But today is my first day. The store will survive. I don't want you to think I'm irresponsible. Grace took off her glasses. Leaving a backpack on a bus was a mistake. It does not mean you are an irresponsible person. Elena was quiet. Grace continued. One mistake does not define who you are. Elena looked down. If you had decided not to tell me and simply disappeared, that would be a problem, Grace said. But you came here. You explained what happened. Now go and try to find your bag. Are you sure? Yes. I'm so sorry. Stop apologizing and start moving. Grace handed Elena a small umbrella from behind the counter. Yours is dripping everywhere. Elena looked down. She was still holding her wet umbrella. For the first time that morning, she almost laughed. Grace gave her directions to the transit center. It's faster by train. Do you still have your transit card? Elena checked her jacket pocket. Her transit card was there. Yes. Good. Call me when you know something. I will. And Elena? Yes. Your job will still be here when you come back. Elena felt a small amount of relief. Thank you. She hurried out of the bookstore. The rain had become lighter. Elena walked quickly toward the train station. She kept thinking about the backpack. The money could be replaced. The bank cards could be canceled. The apartment office could give her a new key. Even the documents could eventually be replaced. But the photograph of her father was different. There was no digital copy. There was no second photograph. If it was gone forever. Elena entered the station and followed the signs. A train arrived within 2 minutes. She got on and stood near the door. The ride to the transit center took 12 minutes. Elena looked at every passenger carrying a dark-colored bag. She knew it was unreasonable, but she could not stop. At the transit center, several buses were parked in long rows. Drivers were taking short breaks. Passengers were moving between platforms. Elena found the customer service window. A man was sitting behind the glass. She explained the situation. He checked the computer. No green backpack has been reported yet. Can you find the bus I was on? Do you know the vehicle number? No. Do you know the driver? No. He asked what time she had boarded and where. Then he searched the schedule. There were 2 Route 47 buses near that stop around that time. Can I speak to the drivers? Not until they return. When will that be? One should be back in about 15 minutes. The other will be here in 40. Elena decided to wait. She sat on a metal bench near platform 6. Her phone battery was at 62%. Her charger was inside the backpack. She called her bank and reported her cards missing. The employee asked several security questions. Then he froze the cards so no one could use them. Next, Elena called the apartment management office. A woman answered. Elena explained that her keys were lost. The woman said they could prepare a replacement, but Elena would need to show identification. My identification was also in the backpack, Elena said. Do you have a passport? Yes, but it's locked inside my apartment. There was a short pause. Come to the office when you return, the woman said. We'll verify your information and figure something out. Thank you. After the call, Elena checked the time. 9:15. Her first shift had officially started 15 minutes earlier. Instead of learning how to use the bookstore computer, she was sitting at a transit center with no wallet and no keys. She opened the photo gallery on her phone. There were many pictures. Pictures of her mother. Pictures of her sister. Pictures of her old neighborhood. Pictures of the airport on the day she left. But there was no picture of the photograph inside the notebook. Why had she never taken one? She tried to remember every detail. The lake behind them. Her father's blue shirt. The way the sunlight touched the water. His arm around her shoulders. Elena whispered, please. She did not know who she was speaking to. Maybe the driver. Maybe the person who found the backpack. Maybe her father. 15 minutes later, a Route 47 bus arrived. Elena stood. Passengers got off. The driver remained in his seat. Elena approached the open door. Excuse me. Did anyone find a green backpack on your bus? The driver shook his head. Not on this trip. Were you driving downtown around 8 this morning? No. That was another driver. Do you know when that bus will arrive? Probably in about 20 minutes. Elena thanked him. She sat down again. 10 minutes passed. Then 15. Her phone rang. Elena looked at the screen. The number was unfamiliar. For a moment, she thought it might be the transit lost and found. She answered quickly. Hello? A woman spoke. Hi. Am I speaking with Elena? Yes. My name is Carla. I think my son found your backpack. Elena stood so quickly that she almost dropped her phone. You have my bag? My son has it. He found it on a bus this morning. Is it dark green? Yes. With a broken zipper in the front? Yes. Elena covered her mouth with one hand. Where are you? We're at Northview Community Library. Is everything still inside? I didn't look through all of it. We found your phone number on a card in the front pocket. Elena remembered the emergency contact card she had made before traveling. It included her phone number and her sister's number. My wallet? I saw a wallet, but I didn't open it. My notebook? There is a notebook. Elena's voice shook. I'm coming now. The woman gave her the address. The library was about 20 minutes away by train and bus. Elena thanked her several times. After ending the call, she called Grace. Someone found it. Everything? I don't know yet, but they have the backpack. Where are you meeting them? At a public library. Good. Call me when you have it. I will. Elena left the transit center. The train platform was on the other side of the building. She almost ran. For the first time that morning, the city did not seem cold or unfriendly. The signs were clear. The train arrived quickly. A woman moved her bag so Elena could sit down. A man held the door when Elena entered the library. Small things suddenly felt important. The Northview Community Library was a modern two-story building. Large windows covered the front. Inside, the air was warm and quiet. Elena walked toward the information desk. A librarian looked up. Can I help you? I'm meeting someone named Carla. Her son found my backpack. The librarian pointed toward a seating area near the children's section. There's a woman and a teenage boy waiting over there. Elena turned. A woman in a red coat was sitting beside a boy who looked about 16 or 17. On the floor between them was Elena's dark green backpack. Elena stopped walking. For a second, she could only look at it. Then the woman stood. Elena? Yes. I'm Carla. This is my son, Leo. Elena walked toward them. I don't know how to thank you. Leo picked up the backpack and handed it to her. I found it under a seat. Elena held the bag against her chest. Thank you. She opened it carefully. The wallet was there. The blue folder was there. The keys were there. The lunch container was there. The notebook was there. Elena opened the notebook. The photograph was still inside. She touched it gently. Her eyes filled with tears. Carla looked worried. Is something missing? Elena shook her head. No. Everything is here. She removed the photograph and showed it to them. This was my father. Leo looked at the picture. He looks happy. He was. Elena wiped her eyes. I thought I had lost this forever. Leo looked down. I'm glad I picked up the bag. Elena closed the notebook. Where did you find it? On the bus. I was sitting behind the driver. When the seat became empty, I saw it underneath. Why didn't you give it to the driver? I was going to. Carla looked at her son. Tell her the whole story. Leo appeared uncomfortable. I was getting off at the next stop. Elena waited. I picked up the bag and started walking toward the front, he continued. But there were a lot of people in the aisle. The doors opened before I reached the driver. So you took it with you? Yes. My school had a late start today, and I was going to the library first. I thought I could give the bag to the librarian. Carla added, he found your emergency contact card before he turned it in. He called me, and I called you. You left work to come here? I work from home, Carla said. My schedule is flexible. Elena looked at Leo. You could have left it on the bus. He shrugged. It looked important. It was. I didn't want someone else to take it. Elena checked her wallet. The money was still there. Every card was still there. She took out two $20 bills. I want you to have this. Leo immediately shook his head. No. Please. You saved me hours of work and worry. I don't want money. Carla said, he did the right thing. That's enough. Elena held the money for a moment. Then she slowly placed it back in her wallet. Can I at least buy you lunch? We already ate breakfast, Leo said. Carla smiled. Maybe coffee another time. Yes, Elena replied. Please. She looked at the clock on the wall. It was 10:35. Her first day at work was disappearing. Carla noticed. Do you need to be somewhere? It's my first day at a new job. Leo looked surprised. And you lost your backpack? Elena laughed for the first time that morning. Yes. That's a terrible first day. It started badly. Carla said, you have the bag now. That's true. Then maybe the day isn't finished yet. Elena looked at them. There was something calm in Carla's voice. Something similar to the way Elena's mother spoke. Elena put on the backpack. Thank you again. Leo nodded. You're welcome. Elena hesitated. Then she said, I work at Maple Street Books. Leo looked interested. The one with the cafe? Yes. I've been there. If you come by, ask for Elena. Carla smiled. We will. Elena returned to the train station. She was no longer running. She was still late for work. She was still embarrassed. But the backpack was on her shoulders. The photograph was safe. Her keys were safe. Her documents were safe. At 11:15, Elena opened the door of Maple Street Books. The bell rang. Grace was helping a customer near the front counter. She looked at Elena and pointed toward the backpack. You got it? Elena nodded. Everything is inside. Grace smiled. Good. Elena stood near the door. I'm sorry I missed the morning. Grace finished helping the customer. Then she walked over. You didn't miss the morning. You had a very educational morning. Elena was unsure whether Grace was joking. Grace continued. You learned about the transit system, customer service, lost property, your bank, your apartment office, and the kindness of strangers. Elena laughed. When you say it like that, it sounds useful. Was anything missing? No. Then put your bag in the staff room. We'll start again. You're not angry? I would be angry if you left it on the bus tomorrow. I won't. Good. Grace led Elena to the back of the store. The bookstore was larger than it appeared from outside. Tall wooden shelves created narrow paths through the room. The front section contained new books and popular fiction. The middle section had history, travel, cooking, and art. The children's area was painted light blue. Small chairs were arranged around a round table. In the back was a cafe with 8 tables. Soft music played through small speakers. Grace introduced Elena to 2 coworkers. Sam worked at the front desk. He was tall, quiet, and wore a dark green sweater. Nina worked in the cafe. She had short curly hair and spoke quickly. Nina smiled. "You must be Elena. We're glad you made it." Sam said, "Don't worry. I locked myself out of the store on my first day." Nina laughed. "With the store keys still inside?" Sam nodded. "It was not my best moment." Elena relaxed. Maybe she was not the only person who made mistakes. Grace showed her the staff room. "You can leave your backpack in this locker." Elena placed it inside. This time, she checked the locker twice before closing it. Grace explained the basic tasks. How to use the register. How to search for a book in the computer system. How to prepare an online order. How to answer the phone. How to issue a receipt. How to place returned books on a cart. At first, the information came too quickly. Elena tried to remember everything. She nodded several times, even when she was not completely sure. Then she remembered what her mother had said. Asking a question means you want to understand. When Grace showed her how to process a gift card, Elena said, "Could you show me that step again?" "Of course," Grace replied. She repeated the process more slowly. Elena took notes. A few minutes later, the front bell rang. A customer entered. Grace said, "Why don't you greet her?" Elena's stomach tightened. The customer was a woman in her 30s carrying a wet umbrella. Elena smiled. "Good morning. Let me know if you need any help." The customer smiled back. "Thank you." That was all. The customer walked toward the fiction section. Elena looked at Grace. Grace whispered, "You survived." Elena smiled. Later, a man approached the counter with a book. Elena stood beside Sam. Sam showed her how to scan the book. The man asked, "Do you have a membership program?" Elena had not learned about that yet. She looked at Sam. Sam answered the question, then explained the program to Elena after the customer left. At noon, Nina invited Elena to eat lunch in the staff room. Elena opened her backpack and removed the lunch container. The sandwich inside was slightly crushed but still edible. Nina looked at it. "Your lunch had a difficult morning too." Elena laughed. They sat at a small table. Sam joined them with a bowl of soup from the cafe. Nina asked Elena where she had lived before moving to Seattle. Elena told them about her family and her previous job. She had worked in a small office. She had answered emails, organized schedules, and prepared documents. "Why did you move?" Sam asked. Elena thought before answering. "I wanted a new beginning." Nina nodded. "Was something wrong with the old beginning?" Elena smiled. "Not exactly. I just felt stuck." Sam said, "I understand that." Elena continued. "I studied English for many years, but I rarely used it in real life. I kept waiting until I felt ready." "And then?" Nina asked. "One day, I realized I might never feel ready." Nina pointed her spoon toward Elena. "That is a dangerous discovery." Why? Because then you have to do something. They all laughed. After lunch, the store became busier. Elena helped a customer find a cookbook. She prepared an online order. She answered the phone once. The caller spoke quickly and asked whether the store had a certain novel. Elena did not understand the title. She said, "I'm sorry. Could you repeat the title more slowly?" The caller repeated it. Elena searched the computer. The store had one copy. She placed it on hold under the customer's name. When the call ended, Elena felt proud. It was a small task. But it was real. She had understood enough. At 3 o'clock, Grace asked Elena to work in the cafe with Nina. Nina showed her where everything was stored. Cups. Lids. Sugar. Tea. Napkins. Coffee beans. Cleaning supplies. The first cafe customer ordered a large iced tea. The second ordered hot chocolate. The third asked for a cappuccino with almond milk. Elena moved carefully. She made several small mistakes. She chose the wrong cup size once. She forgot to give a customer a napkin. She placed a lid on a cup incorrectly, and a little coffee spilled onto the counter. Each time, Nina calmly helped her. "Slow is smooth," Nina said. "What does that mean?" "It means when you rush, you make more mistakes. Move slowly and clearly. Speed comes later." Elena repeated the sentence quietly. Slow is smooth. At 4:30, the bookstore became quiet again. Grace called Elena into the small office. Elena sat in a chair across from the desk. Grace folded her hands. "How do you feel?" "Tired." "That's normal." "And embarrassed." "About the backpack?" "Yes." Grace leaned back. "Do you know what I remember from my first day at my first job?" "What?" "Nothing." Elena laughed. Grace continued. "It was more than 30 years ago. I don't remember what I wore. I don't remember what anyone said. I don't remember whether I made a mistake." "Then why are you telling me?" "Because today feels enormous to you. But one day, it will simply be a story." Elena thought about that. Grace asked, "Do you still want the job?" "Of course." "Good. Because we still want you." Elena felt something inside her relax. Grace smiled. "You did well today. Even though I was more than 2 hours late? You came back." The sentence was simple. But it stayed in Elena's mind. You came back. At 5 o'clock, Elena finished her shift. She said goodbye to Sam and Nina. Grace reminded her to check the staff locker. Elena opened it. Her backpack was there. She checked inside. Wallet. Keys. Notebook. Photograph. Everything was safe. When she stepped outside, the rain had stopped. The clouds were beginning to open. A small area of blue sky appeared above the buildings. Elena walked to the bus stop. This time, she kept the backpack on both shoulders. She did not remove it when she sat down. She did not place it on the floor. She held one strap with her right hand during the entire ride. When she arrived at her apartment building, she went to the management office. The woman at the desk recognized her voice from the phone. You found the keys? Yes. Someone returned the whole backpack. That's wonderful. I'm sorry you prepared a replacement. No problem. We hadn't made it yet. Elena thanked her and went upstairs. Inside the apartment, she placed the backpack on the kitchen table. She removed the notebook and took out the photograph. For several minutes, she sat quietly and looked at her father's face. Then she used her phone to take a clear picture of the photograph. She saved it in 3 places: her phone, her email, and an online storage account. "You're not getting lost again," she said. At 6:30, Elena called her mother. "How was your first day?" her mother asked. Elena looked at the backpack. "How much time do you have?" Her mother laughed. "What happened?" Elena told her everything. The bus. The coffee shop. The transit center. The phone call. Leo. The library. The bookstore. When she finished, her mother was quiet. "You must have been terrified." "I was." "But someone returned everything?" "Yes. There are good people everywhere." "I know." Her mother asked, "Did your manager understand?" "She was very kind." "And the job?" "I still have it." "Of course you do." Elena smiled. "You sound very confident now." "I was confident this morning too." "No, you weren't." Her mother laughed. "You're right." Before ending the call, Elena said, "Mom?" "Yes?" "You were right about asking questions." "I'm right about many things." "Let's not go too far." They both laughed. After the call, Elena heated soup for dinner. She was too tired to cook. While she ate, her phone received a message from an unknown number. "Hi, Elena. This is Carla from the library. I hope the rest of your first day went well." Elena replied. "It did. Thank you again. I would really like to buy you and Leo coffee sometime." A minute later, Carla answered. "Leo says hot chocolate would be better." Elena smiled. "Hot chocolate it is. Are you free Saturday afternoon?" They made plans to meet at Maple Street Books. During the next few days, Elena learned more about her job. She learned where the books belonged. She learned the cafe menu. She learned how to make returns. She learned which customers wanted conversation and which customers preferred silence. She also learned that everyone made mistakes. Sam sometimes forgot where he placed his glasses. Nina occasionally called customers by the wrong name. Grace often began a sentence and then forgot what she wanted to say. On Wednesday, Elena accidentally placed 3 travel books in the cooking section. On Thursday, she gave a customer the wrong change and had to ask Grace for help. On Friday, she made a perfect cappuccino and felt as if she had won an award. Each day, the job became a little easier. On Saturday afternoon, Carla and Leo arrived at the bookstore. Leo wore a black jacket and carried a school backpack. Carla smiled when she saw Elena behind the counter. "You look more relaxed than you did at the library." "I feel more relaxed." Elena took her break and joined them in the cafe. She bought coffee for Carla and hot chocolate for Leo. They sat near the window. Outside, people walked along the sidewalk. The sky was clear. Carla asked about Elena's job. Elena told them about the bookstore and the cafe. Then she asked Leo about school. "It's okay," he said. "What subjects do you like?" "Art and computer science." "What subjects don't you like?" "Everything else." Carla gave him a look. Leo added, some of everything else. Elena laughed. Carla said, Leo is looking for a summer job. Leo looked embarrassed. Mom. What? It's true. Elena asked, what kind of job? I don't know. He wants to save money for a computer, Carla said. Leo looked at his hot chocolate. I've applied to a few places, but nobody called. Elena asked, do you have a resume? A short one. Would you like me to look at it? Leo looked uncertain. You don't have to. I want to. Carla smiled. I told you she would help. Leo opened his backpack and removed a sheet of paper. His resume listed his school, volunteer work, and computer skills. Elena read it carefully. This is good. It is? Yes. But you can make it stronger. How? Elena pointed to the volunteer section. You wrote, helped at community events. What did you actually do? Leo thought. I set up tables. I helped older people carry things. I gave directions. Then write that. She helped him create clearer sentences. Assisted visitors. Organized materials. Helped set up community events. Provided directions and information. Carla watched them. After several minutes, Leo asked, how do you know how to do this? I worked in an office before I moved here. Why do you work in a bookstore now? Elena looked around. Because starting again sometimes means beginning somewhere different. Leo considered her answer. Then he said, I like bookstores. Elena smiled. So do I. Before leaving, Carla asked Elena whether she knew many people in Seattle. Not yet. There's a community dinner at the library next Friday. What kind of dinner? People bring food and meet their neighbors. Leo and I help organize it. Elena hesitated. Large social events made her nervous. Carla noticed. You don't have to stay long. Leo added, the food is good. Elena laughed. Okay. I'll come. The following week was busy. Elena worked 5 days. She spoke to dozens of customers. Some conversations were easy. Some were difficult. Some people spoke slowly. Others spoke very fast. When Elena did not understand, she learned to use simple sentences. Could you say that again? Do you mean this one? Let me make sure I understood. Could you spell the name? Give me one moment, please. These sentences became tools. They gave Elena time. They helped her continue the conversation. On Thursday, Grace placed a sign in the bookstore window. Part-time weekend assistant needed. Elena looked at it. Are you hiring someone? Sam is reducing his hours, Grace said. We need help on Saturdays and Sundays. Elena thought about Leo. Do applicants need experience? Not necessarily. What do they need? To be reliable, friendly, and willing to learn. Elena removed her phone from her pocket. Can I tell someone about the job? Of course. She sent Leo a message. The bookstore where I work is hiring a weekend assistant. You should apply. Leo replied 10 minutes later. Do you think they would hire me? Elena answered. I don't know. But I think you should give yourself a chance. That evening, Leo submitted an application. Grace reviewed it the next morning. This is the young man who found your backpack? Yes. Do you think he would be good with customers? He is quiet, but he is kind and responsible. Grace smiled. Quiet people can be excellent listeners. She invited Leo to an interview. On Saturday, Leo arrived wearing a clean blue shirt. He looked more nervous than Elena had looked on her first day. Elena met him near the door. My hands are cold, he said. That's normal. What if I don't know how to answer? Take your time. What if she doesn't hire me? Then you will have practiced an interview. That sounds like something an adult would say. I am an adult. Are you sure? Elena laughed. Go inside. Grace interviewed Leo in the office. The conversation lasted 20 minutes. Elena tried not to watch the door. When Leo came out, his face revealed nothing. How did it go? Elena asked. I don't know. Grace appeared behind him. I'll call you tomorrow. Leo nodded. Thank you for your time. After he left, Elena looked at Grace. Grace raised one hand. Do not ask. I wasn't going to. You were. I was. Grace smiled and returned to the office. The next day, Leo received the job. He began working the following Saturday. His first task was organizing the children's section. His second task was cleaning cafe tables. His third task was helping a customer find a book about drawing. At lunch, he sat beside Elena in the staff room. I made 2 mistakes this morning, he said. Only 2? He looked worried. Elena smiled. That's very good for a first day. Leo opened his lunch. Grace said mistakes are information. She likes sentences like that. Is she always like this? Yes. Leo looked toward the locker where Elena kept her backpack. Do you still check your backpack every 5 minutes? Only every 10. Leo laughed. That evening, Elena attended the community dinner at the library. The room was filled with families, students, older people, and young children. Long tables held food from many different countries. Elena brought a large container of rice and vegetables. At first, she stood near the wall. She did not know whom to talk to. Then Carla waved from across the room. Elena. Come sit with us. Elena joined Carla, Leo, and several neighbors. They introduced themselves. One woman was a nurse. One man drove a delivery truck. A couple had recently opened a small restaurant. An older woman taught music lessons. People asked Elena where she was from and why she had moved. She told the story several times. Each time, it became easier. Later, a man asked how she had met Carla and Leo. Elena looked at Leo. He found my backpack on a bus. The man laughed. That sounds like the beginning of a movie. Elena smiled. It felt like one. On the way home, Elena walked slowly through the evening air. The city no longer felt completely unfamiliar. She recognized the grocery store. She recognized the bus stops. She recognized the small park near her apartment. The streets had not changed. But Elena had. 1 month after her first day, Grace asked Elena to close the bookstore with Nina. It was the first time Elena had been trusted with the closing routine. They cleaned the cafe. They counted the register. They turned off the music. They checked the restrooms. They locked the back door. Before leaving, Nina asked, "Do you remember your first morning?" "I try not to." "You looked terrified." I was terrified. And now? Elena looked around the dark bookstore. Now I'm only normally nervous. That's progress. They stepped outside. Elena locked the front door. She placed the keys safely in her jacket pocket. Her own backpack was on both shoulders. Nina said goodbye and walked toward her car. Elena waited for the bus. When it arrived, she chose a seat beside the window. She kept the backpack on her lap. At the next stop, an older man entered with 2 grocery bags. One of the bags looked weak. Elena recognized him. It was the same man she had helped on her first morning. He did not recognize her. Elena stood. Would you like to sit here? Thank you, he said. He sat down. Elena looked at the reusable bag in his hand. It was the bag she had given him. You still have that bag, she said. The man looked confused. Then he studied her face. You were at the bus stop. Yes. First day at work. Yes. How did it go? Elena looked down at her backpack. It was unforgettable. The man laughed. Was the rain good luck? Elena thought about the lost backpack. The transit center. The library. Carla. Leo. The bookstore. The community dinner. Her new friends. Yes, she said. I think it was. The bus moved through the city. Lights from stores and apartments passed outside the window. The older man asked, Are you still at the same job? Yes. I work at a bookstore. Do you like it? I do. Then you had a successful first day. Elena smiled. It didn't feel successful. Success often looks different at the beginning. The bus reached Elena's stop. She stood. Before leaving, she turned to the man. Take care of that bag. He lifted it and smiled. I will. Elena stepped onto the sidewalk. The air was cool and clear. She began walking home. A message appeared on her phone. It was from her mother. How was your day? Elena replied. It was good. I'm on my way home. Her mother answered. Do you have your backpack? Elena laughed. Yes, Mom. Both straps. Elena placed the phone in her pocket. She looked at the street ahead. When she had arrived in Seattle, she believed confidence would come before action. She believed she needed to feel ready before beginning. But now she understood something different. Confidence often comes after you act. After you make the phone call. After you ask the question. After you enter the room. After you make a mistake and continue anyway. Elena had not become fearless. She still felt nervous when the phone rang at work. She still worried about saying the wrong word. She still sometimes needed people to repeat themselves. But she no longer believed nervousness meant she should stop. She had learned that a difficult day could still become a good story. She had learned that strangers could become friends. She had learned that losing something could lead to finding something else. And she had learned that starting again did not mean starting alone. You have just completed the full story. If you stayed with Elena until the end, you have already trained your listening through a long and natural English story. Subscribe to Glow Flow English for more meaningful stories that help you understand real English without pressure. Now, let's see how much of the story you remember. You do not need to answer with perfect sentences. A few words are enough. Why did Elena wake up before her alarm? Take a moment to think about your answer. She woke up early because she was nervous about her first day at work. What city had Elena recently moved to? Say your answer out loud. She had moved to Seattle. Where was Elena going to work? What do you remember? She was going to work at Maple Street Books. What important things were inside her backpack? Try to name at least 3 things. Her wallet, keys, documents, notebook, lunch, money, and a photograph of her father were inside. What happened while Elena was waiting at the first bus stop? Think about the older man. His grocery bag broke, and Elena helped him collect the oranges. Why did Elena stand up during the bus ride? Take a moment before you check. She gave her seat to an older woman who was using a cane. Where did Elena leave her backpack? Say the answer in 1 sentence. She left it under a seat on the bus. When did she realize the backpack was missing? What do you remember? She realized it was missing while ordering coffee. Why was the photograph inside the backpack so important? Think about Elena's family. It was the only copy of an old photograph of Elena and her father. Who found the backpack? Say the name if you remember it. A teenage boy named Leo found it. Where did Elena meet Leo and his mother? Take a moment to answer. She met them at Northview Community Library. Was anything missing from the backpack? Say your answer clearly. No. Everything was still inside. Why did Grace tell Elena to return to work after finding the backpack? Think about what Grace believed. Grace knew that Elena had made a mistake, but she also knew that one mistake did not define her. How did Elena help Leo later? Try to remember 2 things. She helped him improve his resume and encouraged him to apply for a job at the bookstore. Who did Elena meet again on the bus 1 month later? Think back to the beginning of the story. She met the older man from the first bus stop. Good work. Now let's explore some useful American English expressions from the story. The first expression is first day nerves. First day nerves are feelings of worry or anxiety when you begin a new job, school, or experience. The older man told Elena that she almost forgot her backpack because of first day nerves. You might say, I couldn't eat breakfast because of first day nerves. Or, don't worry. It's just first day nerves. Say the expression with me. First day nerves. The next expression is room for cream. In an American coffee shop, a barista may ask whether you want room for cream. This means they will leave a little empty space at the top of the coffee cup. You can answer, yes, please. Or, no, thank you. Try the full question. Would you like room for cream? The next expression is turn something in. To turn something in means to give a found item to the correct person or office. The transit employee told Elena that someone might turn in her backpack. For example, someone found my wallet and turned it in to the front desk. Say it naturally. Someone turned it in. The next expression is make a guarantee. A guarantee is a strong promise that something will happen. The transit employee said she could not guarantee that the backpack would be returned. You might hear, we can't make any guarantees. Or, there is no guarantee that it will arrive today. Try the sentence. We can't make any guarantees. The next expression is look something up. To look something up means to search for information. Grace looked up the bus route on the computer. For example, let me look up the address. Or, I looked up the store hours online. Say it with me. Let me look it up. The next expression is figure something out. To figure something out means to find an answer or a solution. The apartment employee told Elena, "Come to the office. We'll figure something out." This means they would find a way to solve the problem. Try the sentence. We'll figure something out. The next expression is freeze a card. If a bank freezes your card, the card cannot be used temporarily. Elena called the bank and froze her cards after losing her wallet. For example, "I can't find my card, so I'm going to freeze it." Say it clearly. I need to freeze my card. The next expression is work from home. To work from home means you do your job from your house or apartment instead of going to an office. Carla was able to meet Leo at the library because she worked from home. Make the sentence your own. I work from home 3 days a week. The next expression is a flexible schedule. A flexible schedule allows you to change your working hours more easily. Carla said her schedule was flexible. For example, my schedule is flexible, so I can meet you in the afternoon. Try it. My schedule is flexible. The next expression is place something on hold. In a store, to place an item on hold means to keep it for a customer until the customer arrives. Elena placed a novel on hold for a caller. For example, could you place that book on hold for me? Say the shorter question. Could you put it on hold? The next expression is slow as smooth. This expression means that moving calmly and carefully can help you avoid mistakes. Nina told Elena, "Slow as smooth. Speed comes later." This is useful when learning any new skill. Say it with me. Slow as smooth. The next expression is feel stuck. To feel stuck means you feel unable to move forward or change your situation. Elena said she moved because she felt stuck. For example, I liked my job, but I felt stuck. Try the full sentence. I felt stuck and needed a change. The next expression is a new beginning. A new beginning is a fresh start in life. Moving to Seattle was a new beginning for Elena. For example, this job is a new beginning for me. Say it naturally. I'm ready for a new beginning. The next expression is get around to something. To get around to something means to finally do something you planned to do earlier. Elena had planned to remove the photograph from her notebook, but she had not gotten around to doing it. For example, I finally got around to cleaning my apartment. Try this sentence. I haven't gotten around to it yet. The next expression is give yourself a chance. To give yourself a chance means to try instead of deciding that you will fail before you begin. Elena told Leo, I think you should give yourself a chance. You might say, apply for the job. Give yourself a chance. Say it with me. Give yourself a chance. The next expression is make it through. To make it through something means to successfully reach the end of a difficult experience. Elena lost her backpack, arrived late, and made several mistakes, but she made it through her first day. You might say, the week was difficult, but I made it through. Say it naturally. I made it through. Now you will hear a shorter version of the story. This time, listen without trying to catch every detail. Focus on the main events. Elena had recently moved to Seattle. On the morning of her first day at a new job, she woke up early because she was nervous. She spoke to her mother, ate breakfast, got dressed, and packed everything she needed. Her wallet, keys, documents, lunch, and an important photograph were inside her green backpack. At the bus stop, Elena helped an older man whose grocery bag had broken. The man wished her good luck on her first day. On the bus, Elena gave her seat to an older woman. She stood in the aisle and forgot that her backpack was under the seat. When she got off the bus, she took her umbrella but left the backpack behind. Elena did not notice the problem until she tried to pay for coffee. She called the transit lost and found, but the employee could not contact the driver. Elena went to the bookstore and told Grace, her new manager, what had happened. Grace helped her find the bus route and told her to go to the transit center. At the transit center, Elena called her bank and apartment office. She was especially worried about the only photograph she had of her father. Then Elena received a call from a woman named Carla. Carla's teenage son, Leo, had found the backpack on the bus. Elena met them at a public library. Everything was still inside the backpack. Elena was deeply thankful. She invited Carla and Leo to visit the bookstore. Elena returned to work more than 2 hours late. Grace was not angry. She told Elena that mistakes happen and that one mistake did not define who she was. During the rest of the day, Elena learned how to help customers, answer the phone, search for books, and work in the cafe. She made several small mistakes, but her coworkers helped her. Over the next few weeks, Elena became more comfortable. Carla and Leo visited the bookstore. Elena helped Leo improve his resume. When the bookstore needed a weekend assistant, Elena encouraged Leo to apply. Leo completed an interview and got the job. Elena also attended a community dinner at the library. She met neighbors and began to feel connected to her new city. 1 month later, Elena met the older man from the first bus stop again. He asked whether the rain had brought her good luck. Elena thought about everything that had happened because she lost the backpack. She had met Carla. She had met Leo. She had become more confident at work. She had found new friends. Elena said yes. The rain had brought good luck after all. Now let's practice responding to common situations from the story. Imagine you are starting a new job. Someone asks, "Are you nervous?" You can say, "I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited." Say it naturally. "I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited." Someone asks how long it takes you to get to work. You can answer, "It takes about 35 minutes by bus." Your turn. "It takes about 35 minutes by bus." Someone drops something on the ground. You help them pick it up. They say, "Thank you." You can answer, "No problem." Or, "Of course." Try both responses. No problem. Of course. A barista asks, "What can I get for you?" Order a small coffee. Could I get a small coffee? The barista asks, "Is that for here or to go?" You want to stay in the cafe. For here, please. You lost something on public transportation. Explain the problem. I left my backpack on the bus. Say it clearly. I left my backpack on the bus. The customer service employee asks you to describe it. You can say, "It's a dark green backpack with a broken front zipper." Try the full sentence. It's a dark green backpack with a broken front zipper. Someone asks what was inside. You can say, "My wallet, keys, documents, and some personal things were inside." Make the sentence shorter. My wallet and keys were inside. You need more information. Ask. How long will that take? Your turn. How long will that take? You want the employee to contact you. Say. Please call me if someone turns it in. Say the complete sentence. Please call me if someone turns it in. You arrive late and need to explain. Say. I'm sorry I'm late. I lost my backpack on the bus. Try it naturally. I'm sorry I'm late. I lost my backpack. Someone explains something too quickly. Ask. Could you show me that step again? Your turn. Could you show me that step again? A customer enters a store. Greet the customer. Good morning. Let me know if you need any help. Say it naturally. Let me know if you need any help. A customer asks for a book. You need time to search. Say. Let me check that for you. Your turn. Let me check that for you. You do not understand a title. Ask the customer to repeat it. I'm sorry. Could you repeat the title more slowly? Say the full question. Could you repeat the title more slowly? A friend is afraid to apply for a job. Encourage your friend. You should give yourself a chance. Say it clearly. Give yourself a chance. Someone returns something important that you lost. Thank the person sincerely. I don't know how to thank you. Your turn. I don't know how to thank you. Excellent. Now let's practice 12 important sentences from the story. Listen to each sentence and then say it aloud. I don't need to know everything. I just need to begin. I don't need to know everything. I just need to begin. Now say the complete sentence. I don't need to know everything. I just need to begin. People who care usually find a way. People who care usually find a way. Now say it naturally. People who care usually find a way. Asking a question is not a sign that you are weak. Asking a question is not a sign that you are weak. Say the complete sentence. Asking a question is not a sign that you are weak. I left my backpack on the bus. I left my backpack on the bus. Now say it clearly. I left my backpack on the bus. We'll figure something out. We'll figure something out. Say it naturally. We'll figure something out. I thought I had lost this forever. I thought I had lost this forever. Now the full sentence. I thought I had lost this forever. One mistake does not define who you are. One mistake does not define who you are. Say it with confidence. One mistake does not define who you are. Slow is smooth. Speed comes later. Slow is smooth. Speed comes later. Now say both sentences. Slow is smooth. Speed comes later. I kept waiting until I felt ready. I kept waiting until I felt ready. Say it naturally. I kept waiting until I felt ready. You should give yourself a chance. You should give yourself a chance. Now say the complete sentence. You should give yourself a chance. Confidence often comes after you act. Confidence often comes after you act. Say it clearly. Confidence often comes after you act. A difficult day can still become a good story. A difficult day can still become A good story. Now say it naturally. A difficult day can still become a good story. Very good. Before we finish, think about Elena's first day. At the beginning, she wanted everything to go perfectly. She prepared her clothes. She packed her lunch. She left early. She practiced what she would say. But one forgotten backpack changed the entire plan. The day was not perfect. It was stressful. It was embarrassing. It was frightening. But it also gave Elena the chance to discover something important. She discovered that she could solve problems in English. She could make phone calls. She could ask for help. She could explain a difficult situation. She could return to work after making a mistake. And she could accept kindness from people she had never met before. Many English learners believe they need more vocabulary before they speak. They believe they need perfect grammar. They believe they need to feel confident first. But confidence is not always the beginning. Sometimes confidence is the result. It comes after the conversation. After the mistake. After the question. After the moment when you wanted to stop but continued anyway. Perhaps you are also waiting to feel ready. Perhaps you want to apply for a job. Speak to a neighbor. Make a phone call. Join a class. Visit a new place. Or have your first full conversation in English. You may not feel ready. That is okay. Elena did not feel ready either. Leo did not feel ready for his interview. But they both gave themselves a chance. Now choose one useful sentence from today's story. You might choose. I just need to begin. You might choose. Could you say that again? You might choose. We'll figure something out. Or you might choose. I'm willing to learn. Say your sentence aloud. Then use it this week. Write it in the comments and tell us which part of Elena's story you enjoyed most. Was it the moment she realized the backpack was gone? The phone call from Carla? The photograph of her father? Leo's job interview? Or the final meeting with the older man on the bus? Subscribe to Glow Flow English and continue improving through meaningful stories, natural American English, and calm listening practice. Thank you for spending this time with Glow Flow English. Keep listening. Keep speaking. And keep giving yourself a chance. You do not have to feel ready before you begin. Sometimes beginning is what makes you ready. A difficult day can still become a beautiful story. I'll see you in the next lesson.